Thank you. Welcome to New Lines Institute. My name is Muqtedar Khan. I'm a professor at the University of Delaware. I come from the department which gave Joe Biden his bachelor's degree. Oh, no claps. Okay. Understandably. It's not my fault. It was before I was even born. But I'm also a non-resident fellow with the New Lines Institute. The New Lines Institute is one of the fastest growing, one of the hottest, one of the rising think tanks in the Washington, D.C. area and in the United States. At New Lines Institute, we try to focus on public policy. We do a little bit of domestic policy, but a lot of foreign policy. The goal is to try and bring the impact of universal values on public policy. I know this is not an era in which we can talk about values and policy in the same breath, but that is our challenge, that is our struggle, that is our burden. And so we try to provide input on U.S. foreign policy, on U.S. grand strategy, on the geopolitics of various regions in the world with special emphasis on the Middle East, on China, and now Europe, and also South Asia. So New Lines Institute also has a magazine which you can take a look at. It's called the New Lines Magazine, which is one of the best places to write. Also very generous in their honorariums. We also just acquired Eurasia Net. So New Lines is not just a think tank, it's a conglomerate of think tanks, you can say. It has several other think tanks. We will soon be making more announcements about acquisitions and growth in new areas. And I also want to thank the president of New Lines Institute, Dr. Ahmed Alwani. Ahmed, if you're listening, I just want to thank our team. We have Rachna Mehta, who is the communications director of New Lines Institute, Kamran Bukhari, who's the senior director, Inga, Katie, and is Gopi here, who's a non-resident fellow. So Dr. Ahmed is a big South Asia team. Time for a South Asia center at the New Lines Institute. So I'm lobbying while I'm introducing. So today what we are very fortunate because there is a conference in town to celebrate Gandhi Jayanti. Tomorrow is Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. Mahatma Gandhi is easily one of the most important persons of the 20th century, along with Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela. I think the century begins with Gandhi and ends with Mandela. These are three people who, in an era of colonialism, World War I, World War II, the only time when nuclear weapons were used, talked about truth, about satyagraha, talked about values and policy. So for the New Lines Institute, it is an honor to be talking about universal values and foreign policy today. So this conference, which is taking place in Washington, D.C., a two-day event, it is called The Voice of the Republic, which is trying to bring the ideas of Gandhian and Nehru, the values of democracy, secularism, religious pluralism. Basically, it's a roadshow for these values, especially at a time when I think America needs to listen to these values very much. So we have a very senior, very distinguished, and accomplished bunch of iconic media persons from India here in the U.S. So we thought at New Lines that why not take an opportunity and host a panel where we will hear what's happening. We are the oldest democracy still, touch wood. We are the oldest democracy in the world, so we want to know how democracy is faring in the biggest democracy in the world. So we're going to talk about essentially U.S.-India relations, the resilience of U.S.-India relations, but more importantly, there have been significant shifts in America's priorities as manifest by Donald Trump's, our president's newly imposed tariffs, particularly on India. India, along with Brazil, has got special attention. They got the highest tariffs at 50%. And so we want to see what kind of an impact it's having on Indian politics. If you remember, our previous president, Joe Biden, loved to say that U.S.-India relations are the most consequential relations of this century. This is how the Biden administration defined, and so we will try to talk. So I'm going to very briefly introduce our speakers and invite them to the stage. I want to invite Anand Vardhan Singh, who is the editor of The Public. He is also the force behind this conference, and so I actually got to know him through the planning of this conference. So Anand Vardhan Singh, welcome to the forum.
Thank you.
I also want to invite Ashutosh. Ashutosh is an old friend. He is also the founder of Satya Hindi. He also writes books, and he has dabbled in politics. He was the president of Aam Aadmi Party, for those of you who know. And now he is the founding... Oh my God, did I open a closet that I should not have? But anyway, he's the founding editor now of Satya Hindi, a very important progressive channel in India. I want to invite Neelu Vyas. Neelu Vyas is part of... She is associated with the Public India, but she is also part she has worked on many channels, but currently is with the Federal, and she has her own channel too. And I want to invite Professor Abhay Dubey. He has had 3 careers.
Abhijit, I think you sit that side. No, I'll go that side. You
Somebody told me that I should sit there. No issues.
No.
No issues.
That's what I was told the
with
seating arrangement is.
Okay, sure.
Professor Abhay Dubey is now in digital media, but before that he was a professor at the Center for the Study of Developing Societies. It's one of the biggest think tanks.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for this little mess.
That's all right. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Professor Abhay, I'm trying to follow in his steps because he has impacted academia and policy, which I have done too. But I'm also following his footsteps in media now, as he has done. So we're going to talk about, the topic is Beyond Tariffs, Resilience of a U.S.-India Partnership. What I'm going to do is I'm going to systematically abuse my status as a moderator, and I will, as you have seen, I've already done that. I'm going to ask a series of questions to the panelists, maybe 2 rounds of questions. And after that, we will open up to the House. We have 1.5 hours. This is being live streamed all over the world. So everybody who is watching us from India and anywhere else, and my students, please make sure you take notes. We will talk about it in the class. We have a mic that is here for those of you who would like to ask questions. And like I'd like to tell you, people, today is Wednesday, so it's not Friday, so no Jummah khutbahs. This is not Sunday, so no preaching. Ask your questions, long statements and speeches we will reserve for our next panel. Yeah. So let me briefly tell you what has happened. In December, one thought that these 2 really good friends, the bromance between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi was really at its peak. We thought that the election of Donald Trump, if you remember, in the previous campaign, Prime Minister Modi had actually campaigned for Donald Trump, saying, "Ab ke baad Trump sarkar." Now this time it will be Trump's governance. And so there's perception that the already rapidly growing relationship between India and U.S. will now be taken to its full extent. They are very comprehensive strategic partners. So we thought maybe India will become like something really special, like UK and Israel are to the US. So that is the hope that we were hoping. And then, first shock, Donald Trump invites Xi Jinping to his inauguration, does not invite Prime Minister Modi. And then Netanyahu gets the first spot, King Abdullah gets the second spot, Prime Minister of Japan, who's already gone, gets the third spot. And so now, then Narendra Modi is the 4th person to meet with Donald Trump. So on every day, it seems, since Donald Trump became president, he was constantly surprising India, or rather disappointing India. And then, of course, the big thing comes when Operation Sindoor takes place, and then subsequently Donald Trump claims that he's responsible. In fact, in the last 2 days, he has said wonderful things about Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan. In fact, he's saying good things about him every day. I think Donald Trump is deliberately trolling the whole country. I think he has understood how to troll India, and he's having a lot of fun at our Indians' expense But all he has to say is, oh, I respect Asim Munir so much, and then there are 600 crore people at least who are, in total, they can't sleep that night. But the biggest disappointing thing for India-US relations has been the H-1B visas, the hiking of the fees. He's hitting India at the core of the India story, which is IT industry, and of course the 50% tariffs. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We want to know what's going on in India. We understand what's happening in foreign policy. So I'm going to now sit down and I'm going to invite each of them to take 2 or 3 minutes to tell us that how do they see India's reaction to what is going on? We thought that these two were the best of buddies, so the countries would be the best of buddies, but now it is not. Start with you, Ashutosh.
Oh, I can speak sitting over here.
Your mic.
I think you rightly introduced the subject that when Mr. Trump was contesting elections, there were many in India who thought that Mr. Trump will, if he wins election, then we'll have a friend there in the White House. But once he won election and when the things started unfolding, then it came as a great shock to all of us. In fact, a large section of the people. What went wrong? It's still a mystery for all of us because we all thought that Mr. Trump and Mr. Modi, they are best of friends and the best of buddies. And since he's now back in the White House, so the relationship between India and USA will improve tremendously. So, but as the things started unfolding, and especially with the tariff, we can understand that the tariff was an issue, but it's not only India-specific issue. But after imposing 25% tariff, and then he had gone to the extent of saying that we are going to impose another 25% because India is buying crude from Russia. And the tone and the tenor of the whole argument really started very puzzling for all of us. Frankly, very puzzling for all of us. And especially after the Operation Sindoor and the kind of language he was using, and he gave the impression that it's because of him that India, Pakistan, they could agree for a ceasefire. And not once, not twice, but I think more than 40 times he has already said that. So this was really shocking, and even the Indian administration is really in shock. And that's one of the reasons that we are feeling betrayed, in fact. As a nation, as the government, we are feeling betrayed that we had so much hope from him, and now we are pushed to the corner, and India is left with no other option than to go to the China, and it's a sad thing. And again, now we are told that in the pharmaceutical industries, he's going to put 100% tariff. India is going to be affected indirectly, not directly, because India is in the pharmaceutical industry is still a superpower in that sense, and a lot of business happens between India and America. Though to begin with, just putting a 100% tariff on the patented and the branded medicines, but a part of it will be affected because we are into that business, and also generic medicine has been kept. So 50%. 25% plus 25% comes to 50%. That's almost the highest tariff. Along with the Brazil, India is suffering from that. And surprising is that with the Chinese, where the Trump administration should have a major problem, now they have almost resolved issues and 30% share. And he single-handedly is trying to hyphenate India's relationship with Pakistan, and every utterances about India is now linked with the Pakistan. So things are not rosy. Things are very fluid and uncertain, and I think it's difficult to even imagine that how things will unfold in future and what direction it will go. Thank you.
I think you used the right term, Dr. Muqtedar, when you said that Trump is trolling India big time. And what is happening exactly as a fallout of this tariff is, and especially what we are seeing in the last 7-8 months, Trump, we were supposed to be very good allies, friends, partners, and within 7-8 months, the entire story has topsy-turvied in the sense that the economic spine is broken, the diplomatic spine is broken, And politically also, it has impacted our Prime Minister. I mean, we keep criticizing the policies. That's something which every journalist would do. But sitting here in Washington, I think he used the right term when he said that we feel betrayed, we feel jilted at this point of time, that, with so much of bromance, and all of a sudden we don't see eye to eye what has really gone wrong. It still is a mystery. But it definitely just can't be tariff. There has to be, or there have to be many more reasons why Trump has given more priority to Pakistan. Is Pakistan coming across as a more viable option than India? If that is so, what are the reasons? Because Pakistan itself has its own shortfalls, and if you compare the two countries, India has a lot more to offer. So what is the reason? That remains a mystery. But the economic fallout, of course, is there. That our seafood industry, the textiles, the pharma, everything is impacted. And with the H-1B visa, that was the basic fulcrum on which our economy rested, on which we showcased everything, the American dream with the software industry, with the skilled professionals going to America. So there's a lot of uncertainty at home. And I was speaking to a few people, the families who are interested in sending their kids out. They all say that, we had collected so much of money to send our kids out. Now we do not know whether even if we invest that kind of money, are we going to get returns? What if our kids are sent back? So that is the kind of uncertainty now is there. And so, of course, one is the economic fallout. The other one is the diplomatic fallout, because back home, it is seen as a diplomatic failure, because Modi did try to reach out, and everybody was under that impression that they are great friends, nothing will go wrong with India, and then suddenly everything taking a 360-degree turn is really coming as a surprise. And then if you talk about the political constituency of Prime Minister Modi, this is my individual opinion again. I feel that what Donald Trump has done to the muscular image of Prime Minister Modi is he's numbed him down. Numbing of Prime Minister Modi, that is what I think Trump has done. Because the mainstream media, which is of course known as GODI, so that of course was standing as a bulwark for Prime Minister Modi. But even that mainstream media has been silenced with Donald Trump's positioning vis-a-vis India. So they are silenced. Modi's, the Bhakt Army, the devotional center of him, the supporters, they are silenced. They are in a bind that, what should we do? Now there's a Lok Sabha MP, a lady MP, she's a Bollywood star. She wrote something against, because there was anger. People were infuriated that why is Donald Trump taking a position like that against India? So she wrote a tweet, and she was called in by the party president to please delete the tweet all of a sudden. Overnight that happened. And so which means that people are angry, but they are not talking. Why? The reasons are very obvious, because here you have the biggest democracy in the country, the most powerful country, with whom we have to continue our relations. We don't want to sour, but yes, there is a feeling that it's from Donald Trump's end that, things have really gone bad. Now, what is the reason? We need to analyze that. Every day we keep talking about the kind of positioning which Donald Trump is taking, whether it was Operation Sindoor, whether it was tariffs, or for that matter, even trolling and doing things which are not palatable for the political constituency of Prime Minister. And this is for a person whom you say that he was your great friend. Modi comes and espouses his cause, that Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar. And then all of a sudden, things going in a black box. I would really say that it's in a black box right now, the way things are happening. So it's really very, very uncertain and very unfortunate also, because we don't know what to say actually. We don't know. It's really sad, very depressing also, because every day when we are doing programs on Indo-US relationship, every day we are trying to say in our thumbnails, in our titles, Trump ne Modi ji ki बेइज्जती कर दी. Now this is the usual, in-the-face headline which is going that this is how Trump is humiliating Modi. Now this is not something which we love to say it. Your own Prime Minister, if he's being humiliated by the biggest friend we thought he was, That's not something which is palatable. At least sitting here in Washington, D.C., we might criticize his policies. We are not against the personal image of Prime Minister Modi, but we surely would not like our Prime Minister to be humiliated like this, especially by Donald Trump. So somewhere something has deeply gone wrong, and which we really need to think and introspect. And if we can take some corrective measures, I think it'll be good for both the countries.
Anandji, one of the things is that over the last 10, 15 years, Prime Minister Modi has made very bold statements, and he's talked about how India is confident, assertive, etc. But do you think that one of the reasons why he's very quiet is because he thinks that he can weather this storm and then fix US-India relations? Or is he waiting for the Bihar elections to be over before he begins to respond?
To be honest with you, there are two parts of the answer is in two parts. One is as a largest democracy in the world, you must understand that we have a 99% people who, this data is important. We have a certain amount of eligible voters, which is about 1,000 millions, roughly, who are eligible to vote as on date. And 99% Indian eligible voters are in the voting list. Please understand this. America, your eligible voters, only 73% are on the voter list.
Yeah.
So please understand, Mr. Modi is not unfounded. He has certain strength because if he's leading a country, he's leading a country which is the largest democracy. All the democracies, I will say not all, but the major 5-6 democracies together will not have a voter strength of 980 millions. So he is talking from the position of strength. Number two, I will say India as a country paid that price of ab ki baar Trump Sarkar, because please remember, we are just talking of the present president. Even when Biden was there, India never had any ambassador full-time for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So we paid that price because Biden was not very happy about it. So what happened on 20th January 2021, when Biden took over, our regular ambassador was withdrawn. Your US ambassador was withdrawn, and for more than 2 years there was no ambassador. So without a regular ambassador, you can understand that the relationship was not normal. So we must understand this. Again, what happened on 20th January 2025? Again, your regular ambassador has gone, and there is no ambassador as on date. You have an ambassador designate who is going, which we are apprehensive because he has an extra status of a special envoy, other than the ambassador of the South Asia. Now, what we are worried about is that we are being bracketed with Pakistan. Let us be, the game which you, as a president of the country, you are trying to play India, Pakistan, India, Pakistan. Today, Pakistan is very happy about it because they feel on one hand, they are in the very good books of China. On the other hand, they are in the very good books of America. So they have, in Hindi we say, unke dono haath mein laddu hain. They have cakes in both of their hands. But what is happening, please understand what President Trump is doing. He's calling a military leader and talking politics. Pakistan has a democratic country. They have an elected prime minister. He's not talking with that prime minister. Just now, about 10 days back or 5 days back, he's talked. Right. But throughout this conversation, he's giving that importance to Munir, who is a military person. So it is not democracy. So maybe Pakistan might be happy today, but what it is leading to and what support Mr. Trump is giving is, for any elected government, it is not a good signal. Then, when she talks of the education and things like that, there is a problem. It is not only he has made Mr. Modi, whatever treatment he has given, as a country we feel insulted, because when our people were sent handcuffed, we have not forgotten. We may not say anything, but we have not forgotten. And it never happened. It happened twice. It happened, then Mr. Modi came, we thought something will, then again, because this is not a coincidence. It is not a behavior that he is of that, it was pre-decided, it was with a messaging he was trying to give, and we have not forgotten that. And the last thing is, the education, H1B1, whatever visa it is, in India the education is not that expensive. Here in America, in rupee terms, it is a very expensive education. For a 1-year fees, what you charge, average Indian doesn't get pay for, maybe it is a 5 years pay for an average Indian. Now, if someone is coming from an average middle class family from India, there is a huge loan he's taking. And then he's coming to America, studying, showing on his merit, he's getting a job, and paying back that loan. Now today, I understand this, if you have a policy that after 5 years, after 4 years, after 3 years, we are not going to do this. But overnight, if you say that is a switch on, switch off, it doesn't work like that. So, might be as a nation, you might be very happy that, oh, look, it's a nation, we are giving them this treatment. But it is not good for the world, I will say, because things doesn't happen. You have a migrant problem. The entire world has a migrant problem. India as a state, the weaker state, the people from there migrate to the other states and they work. So the issue is complex. And if someone is not seeing in totality, we have nothing to do. I mean, we can only say that things are tough for him.
Professor, one of the things that people are saying, both here, experts on India-US relations in the US, as well as those in India, that already there has been an irreparable damage done to the relationship. And there's this constant talk that we never trusted the United States. There's constant reference to 1971. And so now they are saying that it's going to be next to impossible to trust the US as a strategic partner, as an ally. We would rather take our chances with China and Russia than trust America. So what is your assessment? Is the relationship salvageable, or is it completely broken to the point that we need to think of a new paradigm of US-India relations based on just transactional relations? How do you see this?
To answer your question, I would like to paint two scenarios before you. Okay. And these two scenarios, in fact, figure 4 Prime Ministers of India. Number 1, Rajiv Gandhi, who was Prime Minister in 1988-89. Vishwanath Pratap Singh, VP Singh, who succeeded Rajiv Gandhi as Prime Minister. And the Narsingh Rao, who was the PV Narsingh Rao, who was the Prime Minister in 1992, if I am correct. Ashutosh, if I am not wrong, I am wrong, please correct me. And then, now, the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. So, I am going to recall the time of 1988-89, when the American President Bush Sr., George Bush Sr., threatens then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi with the American law Super 301. And he said in very clear terms that if India does not follow the Super 301, then he is going to impose huge tariffs on India. Rajiv Gandhi retaliated in a manner which he never retaliated in his life, and Rajiv Gandhi told him directly that I am not going to even talk to you, I am not going to even receive your phone call, I am not going to ring you on that matter. Bush waited for some time. In the meanwhile, Rajiv Gandhi was defeated in the election. Vishwanath Pratap Singh came to the Prime Minister's post in a coalition government.
Yeah,
in a coalition government. And Vishwanath Pratap Singh followed the footstep of Rajiv Gandhi, and he again he said the same thing to Bush Senior, that I am not going to listen to you, not at all. On this particular issue, I am not going to yield. And when Vishwanath Pratap Singh became a non-prime minister and P.V. Narasimha Rao succeeded him, Narasimha Rao did the same thing. They never yielded before Bush Senior. And after some waiting and waiting in pain, Bush Senior decided to take back his threat without uttering a single word. So this was done by the three prime ministers. And now compare it with what Narendra Modi has done. Should I have to say anything about it?
Please do.
It goes without saying that Narendra Modi yielded before Donald Trump. When Donald Trump bombarded him with the tariffs after tariffs, with missiles of tariffs, what Narendra Modi did? It's really great insult of the pride of a sovereign country like India. And the main political damage which is done is lying with the supporters of Narendra Modi and admirers of Narendra Modi, admirers of the project of Hindutva, admirers of Bharatiya Janata Party. First time they felt shocked when Donald Trump declared that he is the one who has declared the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. That question was hanging, and suddenly the second occurrence came about when he imposed 25% of the penalty tariff on India. So now you can see the comparison between first three prime ministers and the second scenario, what Narendra Modi has done. So this is a very important thing which I want to highlight here. One should think about what's in fact happening on this particular issue. Now, I will go back in history a little bit more. I will go back to the time when Dr. Manmohan Singh was dealing with the Bush Jr., not Bush Senior, Bush Jr. And India and US became friends. They, in fact, came out with a grand design of a treaty.
The nuclear agreement.
Manmohan Singh staked himself on it. What was the crux of that treaty? The crux of that treaty was the ambition of India to become a foremost power, at least in Asia-Pacific region. Now, what has happened to that particular ambition? The whole idea of Vishwa Shakti, the world power, the whole idea of Vishwaguru was basically centered upon this success of this imagination of the becoming foremost power in the India-Pacific region. Only because Narendra Modi failed to answer or failed to retaliate against the pressure by Donald Trump, this whole imagination has gone for a 6. And I don't see any reason, I don't see in immediate future that this kind of thing can be redeemed. Not at all. India has lost out on this count completely due to the pressure. And again, the political damage has done. The admirers, I'm not talking about people like me or people like these three panelists which are sitting here. We are known as the critics of Narendra Modi. We are known as the Tukde gang. Gang. You know, Anandji has said about that the Pakistan has laddus in both hands. I would say the day is not far when the Putin is also come to the Pakistan side. Then Pakistan will be an entity which has 3 arms, not 2. All 3 arms have laddus.
And add Saudi Arabia.
You know, when the European Union and the Western Europe will come to the Pakistan side, then Pakistan has become a European God entity with 4 arms. With 4 laddus in those 4 hands. So that's what happened due to the a particular kind of a foreign policy which I call Pappi Jhappi ki Videsh Niti in Hindi.
I do for this. I think the professor made a point, very interesting point, and I want to reiterate it. At a time when India was politically unstable, George Bush was a one-term president, George H. Bush. During his one term, India had 3 prime ministers. So that's a politically unstable country. That was prior to liberalization. India was a very poor country. India was a very weak country. India stood up to the U.S.
Yeah.
Whereas today, India, the 4th biggest economy, a major world power, easily in the top 4 when it comes to military power, nuclear power, etc. The point that you are trying to make is a prime minister who's been in power for more than 10 years is unable to push back against the U.S. It's a very interesting observation. I want to talk a little...
For his party, this is the 17th year of power.
Yes.
The 6th year, Atal Vajpayee as a prime minister.
Exactly.
BJP was in power at that time also.
Yes, true.
BJP was a coalition government at that time. Even the Narendra Modi right now is the
Coalition
government, yeah.
The last 3 weeks or 4 weeks have been very interesting because there is a spurt of anti-immigration sentiment across the West. There were protests in Australia, if you must have seen. Indians are now the 2nd largest migrants to Australia. They are just about to overtake the British, who are 1 million. There are 960,000 Indians in Australia. There was this massive protest in UK. It's not just anti-Muslim, it's actually anti-immigration, it's anti-brown, anti-black, these protests. And now you're seeing that same sentiment here. And to me, what is interesting is that the right-wing government of India saw all these people as their allies. Yeah. Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage, or Donald Trump. All of these were supposed to be the right-wing allies of, and especially, in the first 1 or 2 weeks, it was impossible for me to watch any Indian news. I used to do shows. I have a channel on which I do shows. I kept telling people, America first doesn't translate into Hindutva first or India first. America first means America first. But when they saw, that Kash Patel has become head of FBI, and we have Tulsi Gabbard as head of Director of National Intelligence. So there seemed to be a perception in India as if that RSS has won the election in the United States. That was the impression I was getting. So now there seems to be an extra shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it is the right in the West which is shunning India, right? So I want to start with Ashutosh, who has written books on ideology. How come, is there a tension between national interest and ideology in the US, which India is not able to comprehend, or in India, national interest has been completely subordinated to ideological interests, that they are unable to cope with this right-wing pushback against India itself?
See, I think this is not an easy answer to this question for the simple reason, because I analyze at a different level altogether, because today in India there is a tension. Because let's not forget it, India might be weaker in comparison to the American administration, in comparison to the America. America is $30+ trillion dollar economy. India is $4.5 trillion dollar economy. But let's not forget it one thing. The important thing is India is a civilizational country. India has a long civilization of 4,000, 5,000. It's a very rich culturally, very rich country. So it's not easy for a civilizational country to forget a humiliation like this. It keeps coming back to us. It haunts us. Within our country, I can understand there is a tension between the new kind of nationalism which the BJP government and the Modi government wants to assert, wants to take a new shape. So there is a tension in the country between the new kind of nationalism and the civilizational spirit of India. That's a tension is over there. And then if you have to face a situation like this, where the American president is out to humiliate us, so this adds up to the problem. Now the issue with the Modi government is, and the issue with the BJP and the RSS is that what I'm very fond of saying this, and I'd written in my book, that India for the first time is witnessing the march of an ideological state. In an ideological state, everything, whether it is a foreign policy, whether it is a defense policy, whether it is a population policy or economic policy, everything is viewed through the prism of ideology. And viewed through the prism of ideology. And within that framework, what the government thought, what the government must have anticipated, that Mr. Trump, under his administration, America will be a normal, a natural ally to the, because ideologically they feel more comfortable with the democratic country where the right wingers is on the rise. Like, it's very difficult for a Hindutva party to have any kind of alliance with the Chinese, because Chinese don't see the China as a country itself. China is led by a communist government, communist party, and the communism and the Hindutva, they are
in the opposite.
They are not the best of friends. They are in fact the worst of enemies in that sense. The worst of enemies. So, in that sense, China and India, and then we have a border dispute. But there is a history also. History means, if you look at Indo-US relationship, we'll realize that it had never been a very good relationship. Historically, India and America had never been best of friends. During the Cold War situation, India drifted towards the Soviet Union, because somewhere down the line we are feeling betrayed that how the Americans are going along with the Pakistan. And like 1971, then there's a whole lot of issues. I'm not getting into that. So, but since Rajiv Gandhi's time, there was a consistent attempt to improve relationship with the Americans, and it was going on a slowly, but it was going on a better trajectory. The problem with this government is, with the Modi government, is that they want to run their foreign policy through the prism of ideology. And when you are looking things through the prism of ideology, sometimes you have to understand that the national interest is more important. That's why I'm very fond of saying this, that the time has come when Mr. Modi, the BJP government, has to take that nationalism thing put it in the back pocket, and take out the national interest thing from the front pocket, and then analyze whether the relationship with Americans is really helping India's interest, whether really it's furthering India's interest. Or it's better to go to the Chinese, despite adversarial relationship, despite ideologically on a different plan altogether. And I think the sense which we are getting in India is that it's better to go to the Chinese, because if you go to the Chinese, what will happen? There will be some moderation on the border, because China's American interest, India, and then if we could improve our relationship with the Chinese, it will have some impact on the Pakistan, and there is a possibility that India-Pak relationship also gets better in that sense. And if we go to the Chinese, then we can also use the Russian influence on the Pakistan. So in that sense, if you look at it from purely geopolitical point of view, I think Indian administration is realizing it's much better to be with Chinese than with the Americans, because firstly, you can't trust with the Americans. If you go back in history, you had never come back. Historically, it has not been a very good relationship. China, we had a problem. We had a 1962 war, and there had been border skirmishes. But if we do the cost-benefit analysis, I think somewhere down the line, the Indian administration has realized it's better to go to the Chinese, not come to America. But they also don't want to jeopardize our relationship with the Americans. Yeah. They don't want to jeopardize it. If it improves, better, good for us.
Yeah.
Neelu, this Prime Minister has made over 100 visits. And in 11 years, he's visited the US 10 times.
I was actually going to come on this.
So my question to you is that clearly in the last 3-4 years, there has been a lot of betting on the US and using US-India relations. US is the biggest export market for India. students come here, IT industry, this is the 70% of India's exports, IT exports are to the US. So there is a huge dependency. India's growth story is dependent on its good relations with the US. So now that this has happened, whatever this we may call it, this disruption or this break, has this weakened Modi domestically or has it strengthened Modi? Is everybody getting upset with Donald Trump and aligning behind Narendra Modi?
Yeah.
Or are they turning against Modi and making him and his party weaker domestically? How do you see that?
I think Modi has never been seen as such a weak prime minister. And as I told you in my earlier submission, that there is a numbing down of his personality, and that is exactly because of what Donald Trump has done to Prime Minister Modi. There was I just want to take all of you back to the time when he became the prime minister. There was a groundswell of support which was seen. The diaspora came in as support, and those were orchestrated events. People never realized that. The embassy was, drumming up support. Yes, they were drumming up support, and the entire mainstream media was trying to project as if, there's some big messiah who has come, and the earlier prime ministers were fools who didn't know how to handle diplomatic positionings and foreign policy. This is what has been happening consistently for the last 11 years. But now when Donald Trump has started pointing out fingers, he's not only pointing out fingers, he's puncturing the processes, whether it is the political constituency of Prime Minister Modi, whether it is the diplomatic positioning, he's punctured it badly. And I think it's beyond redemption now. I agree with Abhijit when he said that it's beyond redemption, and you were talking about a paradigm shift. I think we do need a paradigm shift, because what Donald Trump is doing is he's trying to bring in chaos into a world order which was going smoothly with few disruptions here and there. But more or less, the entire structure looked stable. But what Donald Trump is doing is he's just trying to make things more chaotic. So what has happened to Prime Minister Modi is that he's facing a volley of questions, not only now from the alternate media anyways has been raising questions, but the mainstream media has also started questioning. So I don't think that Modi in the last 11 years was ever seen as weak as he's being projected now, because he's seen as someone who's not been able to put up the national interest. He's not seen as someone who's stood by the side of his own people, whether these are professionals working in America. He's not been able to take a stand. And which is why I think, this shock and awe factor adds up to that. And that's where, this entire thing is militating against the processes in which we've structured the foreign policy. Everything seems to be militating. So everybody is asking, Prime Minister Modi ने जो कहा था, क्या वो सही था? क्या जो दिखाया जा रहा था हमें, क्या वो सही था? These are the kind of questions that, look, we were shown as people who were trying to build a lot of support between India and US. Prime Minister Modi was doing some kind of a magic. Now, all that magic has been watered down just because Donald Trump has taken a different position vis-a-vis India. So I do see him as a weak prime minister. When I'm questioning him every day, I feel that our prime minister has not been able to stand by his own people. He's not been able to stand up for his own country at a time where, his positioning was so crucial. And the entire foreign policy, the diplomatic positioning, our culture, everything is at stake, it seems, just because the kind of positioning which Donald Trump has taken, and Prime Minister Modi is looking very weak. In fact, he's at his nadir. That is what the word I would use.
Anandji, this is a bit of a tricky question. So, like, for example, I noticed that Ashutosh also said India is a $4.5 trillion economy. It is not. India is projected to be 4.19, and Japan will be 4.18. But this projection was when the rupee to the dollar was 83. This projection made by World Bank was when the dollar was 83 rupees. Today the dollar is 89. You know, when Prime Minister Modi became Prime Minister, the dollar was 69 or 65, and today it's 89, 88.7. So if the dollar becomes stronger, if rupee becomes 90, India will go below $4 trillion in expectations. But if the tariffs stay in place, this 50% tariffs will at least have up to maximum 1% impact on India's growth rate. It will be in the 5%. So all the magic of 6.5, all of that will go. So my question is, how is this going to be seen in India? Is it going to be seen as failure of Prime Minister Modi, or failure of India, or failure of Hindutva? Like, how is the country going to cope with? How are they going to? Who are they going to blame for this?
There are two similarities between President Trump and our Prime Minister Modi. First is President Trump is he's bent upon to get a Nobel Prize, which at n number of places he said, I want Nobel. So some of my colleague was asking that let us print a Nobel plaque and give it to him because he's so desperate. In that way, my Prime Minister at least is gathering a lot of civil honors from a lot of countries.
Yeah.
But at least he's gathering. He's able to get that. So this is one similarity.
Ashutosh Varshney has mentioned a country which has only 1,75,000 people.
Vanuatu.
What is it?
Vanuatu.
Muqtedar. Modi also got the prize from there.
The second is both of them wants they are he's a president and he's a prime minister of a democracy where he has been elected. But both of them dream of an oppositionless democracy where there should not be any opposition. This is the on which they both are working. So these two similarities are there. Now there are certain things which are ground reality, which we have been talking day in and day out. If America as a state wants that the agriculture tariffs or agriculture barrier which we are putting, and it is not fair, please understand a very major population of India is dependent on agriculture. And that population is lower middle class, maybe some lower middle class. Now, we don't have the cushion that if we don't give that protection, that state protection is not there, it is a matter of their substance. You will not be able to sustain before that. As Ashutosh was telling that it is a political question.
Almost 40% workforce come from
that. Yeah. They are dependent on that. Now, if you push them there, come what may, we cannot afford that. We have to protect that 40% of the people which are there because they are below sustainable level. So there we feel that it is a wrong mistake that while pushing this, we can push our American corn or something like this. I don't know. The N number of lists. I'm not an expert on that. In papers, it might look very good. In papers, these things may look good. In papers, it may look good. We are fourth, we are third, we are second. Modi ji is using it as for his election campaign. That we have become third, we have become fourth, we will become first. We talk of that after 47 or maybe after 50 years or 100 years, we will be first. Yeah. So we are giving a gap of 100. So that all is an electoral rhetoric. But on ground, it is whether we are first or we are 10th or whatever it is. The second is the way if you are renominating your Department of Defense as War Department, it shows your intent. It shows your policy. It shows how you are looking at it. And to my knowledge, I have a very limited knowledge of international issues. Tell me one war which USA has won after 47, after World War. Give me one example which USA can say that we have won this war. India has won a war in 71. It made Pakistan in two, and we have a history that we have won that war. We were very small and a very poor country at that point of time. So let us not forget that making a war department makes you so strong that you feel that you will bulldoze anything. You have not won any war after World War. And that was, you were part of that allied group. It was not, so this must, anyone must understand that. then we also feel that balance of power, you sign something, then you forget about it. NATO was your creation. NATO was an American creation. Now America is standing with the NATO nations? Quad was an American creation. Is he standing with that Quad? And now you look at China. SCO initially came as a China-driven Russia coalition. They are honest about it. Good, ugly, bad. I'm not going into the details, but China is pushing every day. SCO every day is inching, maybe half an inch, maybe half a millimeter. Every day they are progressing. NATO, Quad, you make n number of things, you forget about it. You signed the Paris Agreement was signed by America. It was a Paris Declaration, and you have ran out of Paris Declaration because you cannot make that commitment which you have made. So, might be at a election level, might be to get votes. People may forget that. But in the long run, as a country, as a world order, these things do matter. Because if you commit something and if you are running away as a country, then I think it is also the pride of the nation. So there I still feel that a lot of things is to be done.
Professor Abe, one thing that I keep, when I read both sides of the debate, right? I'm reading Indians, I'm reading Americans, and there's this constant question about, can America be trusted? Can America be trusted? And no one has bothered to ask the question, can India be trusted? And I like traveling to India, so I'm not writing that article. Not yet. But the question is that India's Russia policy does raise the question, can India be trusted? I also think that these protracted negotiations on tariffs made Trump familiar with India's tariff policy. And every day he must be asking, Lutnick, what the hell's happening with India? He says, we can't do, what's the problem? Well, they have 100% tariffs on agriculture. Really? 100%? How much do we have on them? 3%. Really? And what about alcohol? Well, they have 150% tariffs on our alcohol. They have 50% tariffs on our cars. They have 60% tariffs on our medical equipment. So I think these long negotiations, Trump has finally learned that for the last few decades, India has been tariffing into the U.S. to death. And he's saying, what is going on? Can India be trusted? Is probably the question that is in his mind, right? So I think that there is a trust deficit on both sides, but Indians are more vocal about it, and Americans are less vocal about it. But ultimately, I was hoping that the last election would be Nikki Haley versus Kamala Harris, regardless who wins, the first woman president would be of Indian origin. But let's say that it happens in 2028, and you have a person who Indians may like as president. Do you think...
We wanted to like Mr. Trump.
I know you loved him. There were people who were praying to Trump and praying for Trump in India. There was a temple made.
Yes.
Trump was God. But my question is that I know you feel that this cannot be repaired, but if White House were to hire you as consultant, what would you tell the White House
Abeji, good luck.
Fix this relationship?
Good luck to you.
I won't like to be in that kind of position. Put me in. You see, that Modi has become a lackey of US, and a lackey which was not even petted by the master. Well,
I got it.
Now you can see what kind of situation India is in. When Modi lost the majority in 2014, I thought that, and I said 2024, I thought and said on many media forums that Modi was defeated on economic terrain. He couldn't control the problem of unemployment, problem of inflation, problem of diminishing incomes. That was my basic framework of analysis of his defeat and the kind of anti-incumbency which he encountered in that election. But I never thought that he will be battered or clobbered on the terrain of foreign policy. His foreign policy is completely unraveled.
Yeah.
Completely unraveled. And you know, he will be the first prime minister who will be clobbered in the 2029 on the terrain of foreign policy. I feel very safe to forecast it, because you know his defeats on the terrain of foreign policy are raising the questions in the mind of his admirers, first time in 11 years. So I don't think there is any redemption for Modi.
You wanted to add something, Ashutosh?
I'll slightly differ with Abhayji, because I think, see, what has happened with Mr. Modi is that the aura of invincibility is slowly going down. But to imagine and think that he's electorally going down, I don't see that's happening. His popularity is going down, but in terms of electoral politics, in terms of his control over the party, his control over the government, his control over the other things, he's still there. He's extremely smart politician. The point number 2, I think he is trying to restore the ground he's lost in last few months, and he will project himself that he's one politician who is standing upfront with the Americans and is not bowing down. And he, with the kind of resources he has, the kind of infrastructure he has, the kind of media control he has the capability to turn the entire anti-Modi narrative to the pro-Modi narrative. That look, I'm the only prime minister who is not scared of Americans. I'm not scared of Mr. Trump. I'm not scared of, and I'm going to pay any price for this. On this emotional issue, if anybody thinks that he will lose badly, I think we have to be little restrained into that conclusion, because he has that capacity. He has that charisma. He can turn the table on his opponents. And I think slowly he's doing that. It's already the narrative which is being spinned by the spin doctors is that Modi has responded Trump by not uttering a single word, but not ceding even a single inch on farmers' issues, on the dairy issues. It's not that he doesn't want to cede a point over there, but no prime minister in India can afford to listen to open the agriculture. It's next to impossible.
Just a minute.
Okay, I want to open it to the audience.
I just want to respond to what Ashutosh has just said.
Sure.
I absolutely go along with him when he describes the Modi's ability to bounce back. We are on the same page on that. But he is saying these things when Modi has just passed the 1 year of his rule. The 4 years are in fact staring at him. What I want to say that it would be very difficult for Modi to sustain these 4 years, because 2-3 things are going against him deadly. Number 1, economy. He is unable to control the economic problem, the decline of the economy. All kind of data that he talked about are almost fictitious, absolutely fictitious. He just wants to paint the pink picture, which is nobody is going to buy that pink picture right now. So it would be very difficult for him to sustain these another 4 years. His graph is going down slowly, but steadily. And I would finish my statement that pro-incumbency snowballs. But anti-incumbency also snowballs, rather slowly than the pro-incumbency. And right now, the anti-incumbency against Modi is snowballing gradually but steadily.
So I will now open it to the audience. If you have questions, yes, please come. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll take
Only
this first 4. So introduce yourself very briefly and then ask your question. Just let us know who you are. 1, 2, come stand there behind the light. Yeah.
I work at the US Studies Centre in Sydney. I'm here researching the Quad, obviously. Of course, I'm from Australia. I love the Quad. The Quad was mentioned briefly. I wanted to ask, Modi ji is meant to host the Quad Summit in Delhi in November. Will it happen? And I'd love to hear, yes or no from each of the panel members. Thank you.
I think it will happen.
No, the summit will happen.
Summit
It is
will happen.
It is Mr. Trump who has to decide.
Trump is,
What we have learned that he's not coming. That is what has been told.
So the latest is that today India announced that Putin is going to India in December. That has been announced just today. It was first announced that Donald Trump will go to India in November for the Quad, but at the same time the negotiations on the tariff will happen. So they will announce the deal there at the Quad. But then Donald Trump wants to go to China. So now the question is, he can't go to China and India in the same month. Then you have to decide which country he goes first. So there's a pretty good chance that on the 30th of October, Modi has a chance to meet with Trump in Malaysia, because 2 days later, Trump will meet Xi Jinping in South Korea.
But on this issue, I have a warning shot. Trump is a maverick.
Yeah.
He
might come to India.
He would decide. He might decide that he will not go to the Quad meeting, and he will send his representative.
Yes, they might send J.D. Vance.
Already happened
Quite
once.
possible.
No, he might send J.D. Vance. But the thing is that there is also this idea floating that if the trade deal doesn't happen by November, then they will push the Quad to February. So that date has also come out.
Can I just... Okay.
And let me just finish one quickly.
Yeah, please.
One of the most interesting things that is also going on is that the Australians are agonizing that Albanese has not got a chance to even meet with Donald Trump. So I can understand that. Oh, finally, yeah, that's great. So that's a good development. But I think that if you listen to Donald Trump's speech at the UN, it was as if he forgot about Indo-Pacific. There was absolutely no mention of Indo-Pacific.
No mention.
And I think that is the end of Quad if he doesn't think of it.
I found him speaking against particularly me. Whatever I have learned in my life about international relations and the foreign policy, he was speaking against all those issues, all those ideas.
No, I just wanted to add a little to what she was asking. I mean, her question gave me an impression that, the entire Quad summit might be derailed because of Prime Minister Modi. So let's give him a little benefit of doubt, despite the multiple opportunities we keep criticizing him, that he's not the one who's derailed everything. Of course, he's seen as a Prime Minister who's capitulated, and that's why the slogan in India goes, Narendra surrender. This is what the Indian opposition has been blaming him for. But the point is that he can't be blamed for everything what is going wrong right now. So I think he would be equally keen to have a Quad summit. He would be equally keen to host President Donald Trump. So a lot of things hinge on what Trump's decisions are going to be. He may be seen politically as a prime minister who's capitulated. He would be seen as a prime minister who's not been able to take stand for his own people, and which is why we are all miffed. We are all criticizing him all the time. But then I think Trump has to do more of answering as to why things are going wrong.
But if he comes to India, they will simply spin it as, see, finally Modi won.
Yes.
He got it.
That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, my name is Cammy, but I'm with the Pakistani Spectator. And my question is, do you have any other Indian national leader who would have this kind of courage not to take American president's calls? It's not a matter of Biden or Trump. It's a matter of there are like over 70 million people voted American president in, and Modi is not taking his call because he is securing Indian people's interest. I mean, no Indian patriotic
it's a very hypothetical-
prime minister would, go against its own farmers, given Indian economy still is very much agricultural economy? Thanks.
Shutosh and then Professor.
I think it's a very hypothetical question, and my friend Abhay has already said that about Rajiv Gandhi.
Yeah.
He didn't take call. So
No. How can we guarantee about this information that Modi is not taking the call of Donald Trump? This is a concocted information. This is a trash information. Because this information has been published. This is a gossip, in fact. I would say this is a gossip. The moment Donald Trump calls Narendra Modi will jump from his seat and grab the phone and start speaking to my dear friend Donald.
Abhijit, he's also.
He already did it.
Did you see?
He did it.
Did you see Modi's tweet on this Gaza plan?
Gaza plan.
He supported, no?
Full 100%.
Because
He supported Donald Trump on that.
Modi is speaking in a language which earlier the Britishers were speaking. Britishers were the lackey of US. Right now, Europe is a little bit angry with annoyed with the Trump. So though they are lining up behind the Trump, but they are annoyed as well. So Modi is now want to replace Britishers in terms of the lackiness. I don't think this kind of information is believable.
No, but he did take the phone call on his birthday that Trump called.
I think these are disputed facts.
So these are disputed facts. Modi has appointed 2 lobbyists.
It can be correct, it can't be, but there's no way to...
You know as well, Modi has appointed 2 lobbyists.
This will go on. Come on, let's have the next question.
75 lakh.
Abhijit, next question.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks again for a great conversation. So I know India has a reputation for being like a hard to crack into market, but limitless potential there, right? So in the last few years, you have all the tech CEOs here going to India, meeting with Modi and just doing their whole parade. And these are the same people who are there at Trump's inauguration, who's getting the most invites to go to the White House. Do you think that some of these technocrats have an opportunity to maybe advocate for India? Just broadly, do you think there are other tracks of diplomacy that's open where, that could bring about a change in the tone of relationship between India and the U.S.?
You forgot to tell us who you are.
Oh, my name is Manu Tommy Kalani. I work in anti-corruption and sanctions for a private tech company.
Okay. Anyone wants to take the question?
First of all, we have to understand they represent those multinational companies. They don't represent India. So their interest is to protect the interests of the multinational companies, not to the interest of India.
No, so think about this. If Adani and Elon Musk has a mutual interest, do you think they could not influence their maybe Modi and Trump here?
See, we are not privy to certain information, so it will be us to speculate on those. If I say that Mr. Adani is managing affairs of Mr. Modi or somebody else in America is managing affairs of, unless we got the information, it's difficult for us to speculate on that.
So, for example, if you notice, Modi allowed Tesla in, and Musk is not advocating for India in spite of that, right?
Just to add to it, please understand that your president is a businessman first and a politician second. Let's be very honest about it. And he has a relationship with our number one businessman, Ambani. So his daughter and Mr. President has a direct business relationship. So, those things might work. We are not privy to it. So why any lobbyist he is going to have? He is indirect, two businessmen are talking directly. Whether it is America first or business first, this is only Mr. Trump can say.
It is quite possible that they're doing it privately.
Maybe, yes.
Like, for example, the H-1B visa. You heard Lutnick say at least 2 times he said that it is an annual fee, the $100 million. And then the next day, Caroline Levitt comes and corrects it.
Yes.
And I think, so those 2 days gap that was, I think the CEOs were calling and saying, at least Jamie Dimon was saying, what the heck, Trump, Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Abhishek. I'm a lawyer. And so there seems to be consensus on the panel that Modi is looking weak. My question is, looking at the bigger picture, the whole world is looking weak. So do you have any examples of which leaders we can look up to globally? And I'm not trying to defend anyone. I'm just curious of the solutions.
Leader from India, leader from somewhere else?
Sorry?
You're talking about the leaders?
Globally, yeah.
Globally.
Any of the leaders we can look up to, or you have any strategy to deal with?
With Trump.
I think that the
Far more worried
Chinese
about
has learned the art of
Yeah.
dealing with Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
I thought
Chinese
you were
have
asking
learned the
for
art of
options
dealing
from
with it,
India.
because this tariff thing has gone to 145%, and the Chinese didn't budge. So finally, it has come down to 30%, and now the Chinese and Americans, they're supposed to be the worst of enemies. Mr. Trump is supposed to be the worst of enemies with Mr. Xi Jinping, but they're meeting with each other like they're great friends. Yeah. So it's all about who is speaking from the position of strength. Diplomacy is nothing else. It's a negotiation. And especially a man like, I can prove wrong here, but my submission is within 2 to 3 months of time, that the tariff which has been imposed on India may come down to 20%. You never know. That's what exactly has happened with the Chinese.
You know what?
So I do not believe this, that I differ with Abhayji, that our Prime Minister has budged beyond a point. No. We have not, and I want to respond to your question when you said that India cannot be trusted. I think this whole concept of India not being trusted, India hasn't done even one thing in the last 3 decades where India has bluffed anybody and has not has gone back to its promises.
Yeah.
And you see, it is basically American administration, because the tariff which India imposed, it was known to the American administration. Everybody knew about it, and then you are doing business with us. The fact is, suddenly one fine morning, the American president stands up and says, I want to impose this kind of tariff. And in a most humiliating conditions. You are putting Indians with the shackles and sending them back. Is it a way to deal with a country, a civilizational country? No, it's not. It's not acceptable. The only thing is, since we being a civilizational country, we did not return back in the same coin.
Yeah.
That should not be understood our weakness. India is not a weak country. Let's understand this. And American administration should also understand this. If you want to push us, that you'll put pressure on us, and then we'll open our agriculture, our dairy industry. That's not going to happen. Indian democracy is a very resilient democracy. Yes, we are having certain problems. There are such serious concerns. But to think that that we are not trustworthy, I think it hurts somewhere down the line.
No, but
No, I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
That is about whether the tariffs are going down in near future or distant future. Nobody knows.
No, but he has a different question.
Okay, I'm responding to him. Nobody knows. You know, one court in America adjudicated against the Trump's tariffs.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Trump appealed against it in Supreme Court.
Yes.
There they filed an affidavit.
Yes.
That affidavit says clearly that since India is purchasing crude from Russia, and that creates an emergency situation, national emergency situation for the United States of America. Trump administration has already written down in that affidavit.
Yes.
Unless that case is finally adjudicated by the Supreme Court, Trump cannot withdraw that 25% penalty on India, and nobody knows when this case will be finalized in Supreme Court.
No, but
it's very clear. It is unconstitutional what he's doing with the tariffs, and the only saving grace is
the situation is nobody's hand. It's the hand of American Supreme Court.
No, but what I wanted to...
It might adjudicate in favor of Trump or against him.
Or not. Yes.
No, I have a question actually for Trump and the Americans. That, there's a question which needs to be asked, that how long will it be sustainable for America? If you're hiking the fee of H-1B visa, is it sustainable for you? You were thriving on our service industry. But is it going to be sustainable for America? Tariffs, how long can you continue? Let's put aside the case. But how sustainable will it be? Will there not be a pushback from within your own country? And how is it going to impact the American society? How is it going to impact your relations with other countries? There will come a threshold point after which even America will start breaking in. I mean, you might ask questions of India, you might ask questions from various other countries, but I think there are bigger questions which need to be asked of America.
I think by February we'll have a pretty good idea, because Donald Trump might today or tomorrow fire about a few 100,000 federal employees. and increase the unemployment rate for this quarter. So we will get the third and fourth quarter data where two things will be very clear, growth rate as well as inflation and unemployment. And I think by February, if those numbers look bad, then people will really go after all of Trump's policies, including tariff. So next question.
Okay. I'm Shamir. I am a researcher here in American University. I'm from India. My question is, there are many reports. I am bringing another name, Mukesh Ambani, because it is he who is benefiting from India's relation with Russia and oil trade with Russia, and he is importing it and exporting to Europe. Because of that reason, Trump imposed the tariff on it. I was looking how that affect the conflict between Modi and Mukesh Ambani, or conflict between Trump and Modi, that affect this trio. Because now Modi is in the position that he cannot surrender against Trump. At the same time, if he is not surrendering, it will affect the economy or business of the Mukesh Ambani. How that affect?
Can I ask a simple question? Is Mukesh Ambani indulging into an illegal trade?
No.
So that answers my question.
But that will...
See, Europe is still getting crude oil from Russia. Even Americans are also getting crude oil from Russia. So why suddenly one fine morning you decide that you are getting crude oil from Russia, so you should be imposed 25% rate?
Europe is getting natural gas.
Natural gas.
But getting from Russia. Getting from Russia. The important thing is whether you are getting oil or you are getting from Russia.
Well,
so why the same rule should not be applied to the Europeans and to the Americans? Why only to the Indians? And the Chinese are getting more crude oil from the Russia than India is getting. Why there's so much bonhomie between Chinese and Americans?
There's one difference there. If you go to India's Ministry of Commerce, they have a pretty good dashboard. And if you look at the dashboard, you will see that for the last 2 quarters, the biggest imports of India are oil, and the biggest exports of India are oil. So India is like an OPEC country now. So India, unlike Hungary and Slovenia and Turkey and China, which are all buying Russian oil, they are not reselling it and making profit. The only people who are reselling it and making profit are Indian government companies as well as Mukesh Ambani. So there is a slight difference in the analogy. India is profiteering, whereas those other countries are not. Thank you very much. We'll take the next question.
My last question.
Last?
We'll take all the questions quickly, and then we'll just answer, right? Okay, all questions quick.
Yes, my name is Prab. I was curious, why can't we negotiate for a free trade agreement? I think that may just clear up a lot of things.
It needs congressional approval. It needs congressional approval. That's why they're calling it bilateral trade, not free trade. Free trade, Congress has to sign off.
I mean, UK did it. Right. We did it with UK. I mean, India did it with UK.
India can do it, not the US.
I mean, there must be something.
India also have some inhibitions about the free trade agreement. In Narendra Modi's regime, Narendra Modi has done only one free trade agreement, and that is with the Britain. In fact, BJP officially is against any free trade agreement.
No, but
the first time they did the free trade agreement here.
With the US, we have legal problems. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Krishnan. I'm a student at the Eisenhower School in National Defense University in DC here. And firstly, I'd like to thank the panelists. We heard insights on how the SAR relationship affects India. May I get some insights on how it will affect US? And in case of a Taiwan contingency, which US expects to happen before 2027 or before, doesn't US need India?
For Taiwan?
For Taiwan.
All right, next question. We will answer all the questions once we take we'll take all the questions and then we'll answer them. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Rajiv. I'm just a project manager here. And my question is, has Modi really negotiate? I mean, has he caved in the main things? Because Indian economy mostly depends upon oil and agriculture, and those are the two things that Trump is trying to push. And the other parts, the 100% agriculture tariff has no impact because we do it's other than Desi stores.
Oh no. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Ataullah Khan with the U.S. India Policy Institute. One of the things I wanted to ask was, where is Jaishankar in all of this? I heard the entire panel, not one mention of India's foreign minister. So what are we lacking here? I think that also points to the fact that what Ashutoshji was saying is that on the one hand, there is synergy between US and India, right? It's not like we are just getting H1s and coming here and making money. It's both ways. US also benefited right from Y2K all the way till today through technological, medical, technological industry and so on, and cheap, generic drugs and so on. So it's a two-way relationship. Why is it sitting here as though we are the ones who are coming with a begging bowl, Indians basically? I think there has to be a campaign. We have to up the campaign from Indian side, and I'm really surprised the foreign minister wasn't even mentioned.
The biggest multinationals in America, they don't know how to run their company, so they need Indians. You need Sundar Pichai, you need Satya Nadella, you need others.
I just want to make a simple comment, interesting comment rather, about S. Jaishankar. I can see that Jaishankar must be hidden in some corner of this,
this room,
this room, and he must be calculating on his calculator, on his handheld calculator, how many times we have uttered the name of Modi.
Yeah,
and he will come up with this sum that we have uttered the name of Modi 1,000 times or 2,000 times or 3,000 times.
And more than
then
Trump.
he's going, more than that. He's going to report to the Prime Minister that your name has been uttered among your critics 3,000 times. And that will be a news in India.
See, one thing which was shared with me by the former Finance Secretary, Mr. Subhas Garg, that he's really puzzled when the trade negotiations is going on. Where is India's finance minister?
Yeah.
So obviously, this negotiation should be done at the level of the Nirmala Sitharaman and the finance, not the
Jaishankar.
Because I don't know how much his expertise lies on these trade negotiations.
I think it was misrepresented because Jaishankar was here for UNGA and Piyush Goyal was here at the same time. India tried to show.
But why not Nirmala Sitharaman? She's the finance secretary.
I have no idea. In fact, she came here a month before and gave a talk at CSIS on that issues. But I really don't know what it is. There is a theory that I have recently learned about in the Pakistani strategic circles. They have a theory called MAD. Modi, Amit Shah, and Ajit Doval. So they think that Modi, Amit Shah, and Doval are responsible for India's national security and especially Pakistan policy. And Jaishankar is the one who just takes notes on these issues. Yeah. That is a perception. I think we need to give this panel a great hand. It was a wonderful, very candid, and I also want to thank our team. Thank you very much, Rachna Mehta, Kamran Bukhari, and the New Lines team. And thank you very much for the panelists for such a wonderful discussion. Thank you. All right, we are done.
All right.